Hi everyone, it's Caroline. It's October, which is the month of the Creepin' It Real readathon. You are watching what is going to serve as my vlog for this readathon, which is hosted by my dear friend Liz. And actually this year she asked some of my other good friends to co-host the readathon with her. So I will leave all of their information linked down below. You should go follow them and check them out because they're all amazing and perfect and wonderful. Basically what you need to know about this readathon is that it centers and focuses on reading all of those atmospheric, spooky, creepy, horror, thriller, mystery books that are perfect to read at this time of the year. It takes place throughout the entirety of the month of October, which is where this conversation comes in. Currently, it is October 15th, which means we're basically halfway through the month, and I have not picked up or read one single book for this readathon so far this month. Beginning of the month me was very hopeful. Hello everyone, it's Caroline. It's October 2nd and what you are currently watching is the beginning of my month-long Creepin' It Real readathon reading vlog. The whole theme of this readathon is centered around the tarot deck. I don't know why I held this up like this would help. This is my tarot deck. The theme is tarot. So what that means for you and me right now, well basically, okay, so here's how the theme ties in. They've taken every single card in the major arcana and basically the hosts assigned a reading prompt to each card in the major arcana. Now, you could go about this readathon by just picking and choosing which cards / prompts you want to fulfill throughout the entire month, or you could let the fates decide. So beginning of the month me let the fates decide and pulled 4 different cards from the major arcana, which gave me 4 different reading prompts. So the first card in our Creepin' It Real readathon spread is the Fool. Next card is the Star. Next we have the Sun. This is like one of my favorite cards in the major arcana. And the last we have the Empress. Okay, I'm just sitting here staring at these cards. I'm gonna find out what they mean and then we'll talk in a second. Let's talk through these prompts that I got and the books that I assigned to each of them. Starting with, let's start with the Sun, which I believe that this was to read a cozy mystery. And for this one, I am going to read, hang on a second, I forgot the name of it. Be right back. A Deadly Inside Scoop by Abby Collette is the cozy mystery that I am going to read to fit this prompt. The Star, I believe, was to read a book with a main character that is in recovery, for which I am going to be reading Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Now hear me out. I know that the whole premise for this is that the main character goes to see her sister because her sister is like sick. It's not the main character that's in recovery, at least a character is in recovery. As Liz, the creator of this readathon, says, this readathon is frightfully casual, so I can bend the prompts to fit my will. Also, thank goodness it's frightfully casual because we're already halfway through the month and I haven't read anything for it. Next one is the Empress, which is to read a book with a spooky book. All of these prompts are to read a spooky book, but this one was particularly to read a spooky book with a badass female main character. And for this one, I am going to be reading The Library of the Dead. Here's the cover, can't you see it? So beautiful, by T.L. Huchu. This is an Alex Award winner, which I'm trying to read all of the Alex Award winners before the end of the year, and I'm not doing so hot on that. But if I read this one, not only will I fulfill this prompt because the main character in this one is like a ghost whisperer as a profession, and she like delivers messages from the dead to people that are still alive, and like that's very badass. But also I will get one step closer, one book closer I will get one book closer to have read all of the Alex Award winners for the year. Why did that take me so long to say? The last prompt, I don't know if it's the last prompt that I pulled, but it's the last prompt that I'm going to talk about, which is The Fool, which is to read a young adult, a spooky young adult book. And for this one, I'm going to be reading How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. And this is actually the book that I am going to start this readathon off with. actually already gotten started on this one. I'm about 16 pages in, and this actually isn't my copy. My student read this and really liked it and recommended it to me and gave me their copy, which is so kind of them, but they gave it to me at the beginning of the month. I said that I'd be able to get it done super quickly, but then here we are almost 2 weeks later. So I would really love it if I could finish this this weekend. It's Saturday. I'll see the student again on Monday. So far from what I've read in this 16 pages is it takes place at this really elite academic academy, and there's a lot of YA thrillers that kind of do this, where in the first couple of pages a student turns up dead. So I think that we're going to follow maybe a couple of different perspectives to find out how this student ended up dead. Here's the thing with me and YA books that follow this kind of premise, is that I never really and truly like head over heels love them, but I always have like a good time with them. So I'm hoping that's going to lend itself well to me being able to finish this one basically in the next 24 hours. Okay, hi. Same day as earlier, same me as earlier, same sweatshirt as earlier. It's just much later. Side note, the hosts of this readathon, if you're watching this right now, did you make the theme, like when you made the theme tarot, did you intend that like people who participated were just gonna have built-in bookmarks? Because if so, you're all geniuses. There's some things, I mean, I'm still at the very beginning, but there's some things that I said earlier that I wanna take back because I was wrong. I think I said that I thought it was told from multiple perspectives, and so far that is not true. It's just told from the main character, Nancy's perspective, and then we do get some flashbacks in time, so maybe that's why I thought there was multiple perspectives. I was right about the very intensely academically rigorous campus kind of setting, this private academy kind of setting that I feel like is really popular in the YA mystery thriller genre. Also, all of like the cast of characters we have is extremely diverse. In fact, I'm pretty sure that every single character in this group of friends is a POC or are POCs. So that's really incredible, especially because I feel like I know that is a rarity in the YA mystery thriller genre. It's super quick to read and it's like fun, but I think my biggest thing with thrillers in general, or mystery thrillers like this, where someone shows up dead and then the group, like the characters, the main characters, all we're doing is watching them try to solve the mystery of the death. I feel like it just makes the characters super flat in one note. And for plot purposes, it makes it super fast-paced and quick, but I'm just someone who really appreciates like the background development of characters, which is actually why I'm really enjoying the flashbacks in time, and I think that this author was smart to include those. Exciting news, I have officially completed my first book for the Creepin' It Real readathon. Woo! So for How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao, my feelings for this by the end didn't really change a whole lot from whenever I last updated you. I think somewhere near the middle. This is like an objectively good YA thriller mystery. If you are someone who normally picks up those books and enjoys them, this isn't gonna be any different. There was like casual queer rep in there, and I think I spoke to the really diverse cast of characters earlier. Also, something that I feel like it's important that I bring up that I don't think that I've spoken about yet, this is a dark academia-esque book, especially with the kind of elite prep school setting. And another feature I feel like that needs to be brought up is the morally gray characters, particularly the main character. At the beginning I was like, yeah, this main character is really easy to root for, like we want her to win, woo, save the day. And then by the end I was a little bit like, girl, do I want you to win? Like, do I want you to come out on top? I'm not quite so sure. It's not a book that I am ever going to really think of again, so I'm gonna put it right in the middle at like a 2.5 stars, but remember, objectively, this is a good YA thriller mystery. That's the prompt of the Fool checked off. I looked everywhere for my tarot card so that way I could at least hold that up, and I was using it as a bookmark in the book, and I'm hoping that I didn't leave it in the book and give it back to my student. It turns up somewhere. Not only can I update you though that I've finished a book for Creepin' It Real, I have also started a new book for Creepin' It Real, which is The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hoochoo. I started this one on audio like a couple of hours ago, and I can already say right here and now that I am so glad that I made the decision to make this my like personal challenge fulfillment of reading a book on audio, because the narrator, hold on, let me find out who the narrator is really quick.
The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hoochoo, read by Tinashe Rakandwa.
Tinashe Rakandwa, I think that's it. Anyways, I don't know if you heard from that little clip, but the narrator, the audiobook narrator, does this great Scottish accent, or I don't know if it's like their actual accent or if they're doing it. Either way, it's fantastic. It's really putting me in this kind of like dystopic Edinburgh setting, and I really love the whole ghost hunter thing so far. And I'm reading this one for the, hold on, the Empress tarot card prompt, which is a book with like a badass female main character, and so far I'm about 15% in, and that definitely tracks. Unfortunately, we're on my weekend right now. It's Saturday. Next week is the last week of October, and it's also parent-teacher conference week. I am nowhere near prepped for parent-teacher conferences, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on my weekend, for parent-teacher conferences, but I've decided to make it a good time. I'm gonna work for an hour and then do like an hour break, and hopefully in those hour breaks, I can listen to the audiobook. Also, Taylor Swift's Midnights dropped, technically yesterday, but I think technically today. I don't know, time changes are weird. So while I'm doing some grading and just getting some stuff prepped, I'm gonna have that running in the background. At the tail end of what has been probably like one of the most draining and exhausting weeks of my entire life, and like I've had a pretty good life, so like I'm fine, but needless to say, there's like 4 days left in October, and I have still only completed one book off my Creepin' It Real TBR. But I have some good news to report as well, which is that I am officially on break from school right now. I'm on break for like over a week. So I, during the next 4 days, have all the time in the world to dedicate to reading. Also, even though I still have only finished one book, I am now, let me check, 72% of the way through The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hoochoo. And when I say that this audiobook was like the thread that held me together this week, I just looked forward to listening to this audiobook so much at the beginning and end of my days. I think that I already told you at the beginning that our main character communicates with ghosts for like a trade, like that's her profession, and there's not only like ghost talking that happens in this world, there's other just like kind of casual otherworldly things that go on, like magic exists, and like demons and magicians, and like being able to traverse all of these different kind of planes, but it's all so casual. Another thing about the setting that I didn't really realize, I guess, is that it's kind of dystopian, but again, the dystopian-ness of it all is so casual. It gets really prevalent when kind of infrastructure things are described. You're really able to see the difference in like social classes, and also every now and then some like climate things are brought up. So honestly, like maybe it just takes place in this modern setting. Also, two things that I didn't know going into this that I probably should have. One, This book is the first in a series, which normally when I unknowingly start a series, I get mad because I'm not really a series reader. So then it's like I get to the end and I'm like, ugh, now I don't actually know what the ending is, but I'm not going to continue on in the series. But with this one, I actually think that I am going to continue on in the series. And then the second thing is that I know that it's literally in the title, but there is a library setting in this book. And if you know anything about me, you know that I live and die for a library setting. And this library setting in this book in particular is just like, oh, exactly what I want. It's kind of like shrouded in mystery a little bit. So the library has like a secret society attached to it too, which like a secret society library, are you kidding me? And it's like, kind of windy and like, again, you don't know that much about it because the main character doesn't know that much about it. And it has all these kind of like these weird archaic rules, and it's like very high academia, like it's this library for like magicians and stuff like that. So anyways, needless to say, I am going to finish this book either tonight, right now, or sometime very early tomorrow. Speaking of things that have held me together through this trash fire of a week, this Nest alarm clock that I've gotten. Between this and then the Library of the Dead audiobook, those two things are the sole things that are responsible for keeping me alive this week. I love this thing so much. I have like a wind down sleep mode, so when I press it, it turns this beautiful shade of like pink. It has these beautiful rain sounds that play.
Different book. 9 minutes, I will read on the day I can't read the end. 10 minutes, we're gonna count our feet.
Everyone, I have several updates and every single one of them is fantastic. Update number 1, the universe is really conspiring with me this last weekend of October, last weekend of Creeping It Real. It has been spooky, stormy, windy, cloudy since I woke up this morning, and that has just been the fuel to my reading fire. I spent this morning cuddled up on my couch finishing Library of the Dead, so that's the second great thing that happened is I finished the second book for Creeping It Real. So Molly was doing reading sprints this morning, and I found this fantastic ambient room that has just been on in the background all day, and I have truly been, like, for someone who doesn't enjoy spooky things all that much, I've been feeling so cozy, and I have the weather and the readathon and this ambient room and that book to thank for that. Something else fantastic that happened that was kind of unexpected. I ordered a standing lamp to be delivered. I ordered it yesterday, and for some reason in my head I just thought like, oh, it'll be here in a few days. No, it came this morning and the delivery was so easy, setup was so easy, and so now I can do this, which maybe that lighting didn't do great things for me and my sweaty face because I just got done assembling it. So we're gonna turn that back off, but I no longer have to use this god-awful overhead lighting. Shout out to IKEA. This is the Hector lamp, if you're wondering. And actually, now that I think about it, this will be the third time for me purchasing this lamp and owning this lamp. I've owned this lamp in 3 different countries, have purchased it, this exact same lamp, from 3 different IKEAs in 3 different countries and had them in 3 different households. Like I was saying earlier, I officially finished the Library of the Dead by T.L. Hoochu, so I can check the Empress tarot card off of my initial spread. My feelings didn't change at all. In fact, I think they got better as this book wound up. The end was just like a non-stop action-packed thrill ride, and I love it so much. And I think that I'm gonna give this, like, I think I'm giving this book 5 stars. It's not like a typical book that I feel like people would expect me to give 5 stars, but it was exactly what I needed in the moment. It was perfectly spooky, and it took kind of like the typical, I feel like, kind of mystery premise that a lot of books have, where a child disappears and then the main character gets roped into saving this child. But the setting and like the whole ghost hunting, otherworldly element of it all made it so much fun to read. I already am trying to plan out when I can read the sequel to this, because this main character is so fantastic. I don't know that I'd go around recommending this book to everyone, just because you are so in this main character's head that if you don't like the main character, then you're not gonna like the book. But if you do like the main character, which I really did, it's gonna work so well. It is adult, but I think I said at the beginning of this video, I'm picking this up because it was an Alex Award, which means that it like got an award because it appeals to teens. And I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't. Like, this book reads like YA. I guess there are some like gory things that happen later on that are kind of more adult skewed, but like, I'm a wimp and it's nothing that I couldn't handle either. So I would recommend this to adults and then also YA audiences alike. And so I'm hoping to continue this reading high that I'm currently on with Mexican Gothic, which will fulfill the star prompt that I have. All I really know about this is the main character is going to help their cousin, who is in this like creepy manor in Mexico. In a shocking to everyone, including myself, turn of events, this is turning out to be like one of my favorite things that I've read all year. But the issue is that I've pretty much done nothing else except read this between yesterday and today. And it's getting to my brain a little bit. So I'm gonna go on a run right now to try and shake the weird, spooky, creepy feeling that this book is giving me. And after I come back from my run, I'm gonna finish. I only have like 40-ish pages left, and then we can talk more in depth about this. I listened to this song pretty much the entire last 10 minutes of my run. Okay, we have like 25 pages left. Let's read them together. This bitch! Hair is going to need to come up for me to talk about this one. Oh my gosh. Those last 30 pages, everything blew up. Can I just say, now that I've officially finished this, I am so incredibly happy that I can officially say that I love Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing. Like, that is what sold it for me for this book. I was so nervous to start this because basically every single time I hear the premise of a book that Silvia Moreno Garcia has written, I'm like, that sounds incredible, I want to read it. But then I don't know if this happens to anyone else, I get like nervous to read new authors because all of her different books like sound so different from one another, but they all sound like something I want to read. Then I was so scared to actually pick one up because I was like, well, if I don't like her writing, it doesn't even matter if I'm interested in all of her books, because if I don't like the writing, then I'm not gonna like any of the books. But I am so happy to say that I love her writing. The atmosphere in this one was absolutely perfect. I picked the perfect time of year to read this. There's just something that's so deeply like unsettling to me about the house being the villain, like being trapped in a house and the house being the thing that is so incredibly, deeply, insidiously wrong. It's been a long time since I've read a book this like compulsively, and that's 1000% owed to her writing, because in this, like, I feel like I didn't update a whole lot because not a whole lot happened. Like, Noemi, the main character, gets to the house pretty quickly to help her cousin, and then she's just in the house the entire time. A lot happening plot-wise, which I actually think is a feature of Gothic horror, and it's actually something that I thought I didn't like. Earlier this year, I read The Haunting of Hill House, which has a very kind of similar premise where there's a main girl and not a whole lot happens to the plot. She's just stuck in this house interacting with the house itself and the people in it. Same thing happens in here. I did not like that, but because of this author's writing, I loved this, devoured it. There were parts that creeped me and unsettled me so bad, but I could not look away. I will say it lost me slightly, like in the last 100 pages or so, and what I'm coming to realize more and more with myself and my preferences in, like, I guess horror or even mysteries and thrillers is that whenever it comes to like the twist, or not even the twist, but like the reveal, I just almost wish that there wasn't ever a reveal. Like, I wish things just remained ambiguous. I wish that things were weird and unsettling and creepy just because that's the way they were, and not because of any like backstory, if that makes sense. If you have any recommendations for like horror in particular where things are left ambiguous, I feel like that's almost what I want. Like, I don't need an explanation. It almost ruins things for me. And the explanation didn't ruin things for this one. It just kind of like lost me a tiny bit, but then by the end it roped me right back in. This was incredible. I loved it so much. I'm gonna be thinking about it for like days, months, years to come, and now I'm so excited because I can pick up more of Silvia Moreno Garcia's books, and now I feel like I need to go check my refrigerator to see if there's any mushrooms in it. That way I can promptly get rid of them. Looks like we're safe. No mushrooms in this household ever again. Hi everyone, let's talk about a few things. Thing number one, the readathon is over at this point. We're a few days into November, but I wanted to make sure that I was reading my entire TBR. So that's what I've been doing the past few days. I've been reading A Deadly Inside Scoop by Abby Collette, which fulfills the Sun tarot prompt, which was to read a cozy mystery. So let's talk about that. That you know that when I pulled this card, I was a little hesitant because I have never read a cozy mystery before. This was my first cozy mystery that I've ever read, so keep that in mind when I'm talking about my thoughts and feelings for it. Basically, the whole premise of this, we're following our main character, Wynn, who at the beginning has kind of moved back in with her family who live in this really cute and cozy small town, and she is trying to reopen and almost like reestablish and rebrand her family's ice cream shop. And on opening day of this ice cream shop, that already isn't going so well because she decides to open it like in the middle of a blizzard, so no one comes in on the first day. She doesn't get any customers, and then her bad day turns worse when, through a series of circumstances, she discovers a dead body. I'm not even entirely sure what constitutes like the cozy mystery genre. I think it's supposed to be kind of a low stakes mystery where no one is ever in that much danger. It kind of like is supposed to remove the suspense and thrill factor, and then where the suspense and thrill factor would be in like a normal mystery, it's kind of replaced with like the mundanity of the characters' everyday lives. I think the book fits the genre really well. I think that if you are a well-seasoned cozy mystery reader, you would enjoy reading this. I just had such a hard time getting and remaining invested in the mystery of this, which I think is something that I know about myself as a reader. I know that I don't like following a plot line of characters who are just trying to solve a mystery. I don't like stakeouts. I don't like kind of Xing out suspects. I think that for me, it just limits characters a lot. So because it's a cozy mystery, obviously a big part of it is the mystery, and I was not invested in any part of that. Even at the end, when everything got revealed, I was just kind of more confused because my investment had been so low throughout the book that I like had trouble even keeping up with like all of the suspects and the names of people. I did enjoy like the cozy aspects of this. Like I thought the town and the ice cream shop were really, really charming. I loved reading about the parts when the characters would just do the day-to-day tasks of like waking up and making the ice cream and trying to sell the ice cream and like going out and getting lunch for themselves. Like I really did like those parts. Those parts weren't enough for me to remain invested during the solving the mystery part. So I have actually kind of a similar rating to the book that I read at the beginning of this vlog, the YA mystery, where like objectively A Deadly Inside Scoop is a good for its genre book. Subjectively, I just don't know that I am a cozy mystery kind of gal, and I know that I am not going to really think about this book again. Before that, we put it at like a 2.5, 3 stars. And with that, we have an entire Letting the Fates Decide, Creepin' It Real, readathon, tarot spread TBR completed. The month of October, I'm not gonna lie, was not a great one, so I'm so grateful to the creators and hosts of this readathon for creating like a huge bright spot in the month. I read some stuff that was just okay, and then I read some stuff that turned out to be like some of my favorite books that I read this year, and I love that. We love getting new favorites. I hope that if you're watching, you had a fantastic month of spooky season reading. I hope that if you participated in the Creepin' It Real readathon, you had as much fun as I did with it. Hope that wherever you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.